Are you prepared for a natural disaster? How about different types of disasters? Natural disasters aren't one size fits all. They come in many forms, each bearing its own set of challenges and dangers. Understanding these differences is crucial for your survival strategy. Let's start with floods. They're often the result of persistent rainfall and can occur anywhere. The water level can rise quickly, making evacuation a priority. Floods can destroy homes, contaminate drinking water, and cut off access to resources. Next, earthquakes. Unlike floods, earthquakes strike without warning. They can cause buildings to collapse and trigger tsunamis. Preparing for an earthquake means securing your home and having a plan to take cover when the shaking starts. Then there are hurricanes. These are large storms characterized by high winds and heavy rainfall. They can cause extensive damage and often lead to flooding. If a hurricane is on the horizon, you'll need to secure your home and possibly evacuate. Lastly, let's consider wildfires. They can spread rapidly, fueled by vegetation and wind. Wildfires can engulf homes and make the surrounding air dangerous to breathe. If a wildfire threatens your area, evacuation is often the safest course of action. Now, it's important to remember that the impact of these disasters can vary greatly depending on your location. For instance, if you live in a coastal area, hurricanes might be your primary concern. On the other hand, if you're nestled in a mountainous region, you might be more susceptible to wildfires. That's why it's essential to understand the specific threats in your area. Are you in a flood zone? Is your region prone to earthquakes? Answering these questions will help you tailor your survival strategy to the disasters you're most likely to face. Knowledge of your local threats is the first step in your preparation. By understanding the different types of disasters and their impacts, you can make informed decisions, prepare effectively, and ultimately, increase your chances of survival. Once you know what to expect, the next step is preparation. Think of it as arming yourself with the necessary tools to weather any storm, quite literally. Let's delve into the details. First and foremost, let's talk about supplies. It's essential to have an emergency kit on hand for different disaster scenarios. This kit should contain enough food and water to last at least 3 days. Opt for non-perishable food items, and remember to consider any dietary restrictions or allergies within your family. Water is a lifesaver, so store at least 1 gallon per person, per day. Medical supplies are another crucial component of your disaster kit. A comprehensive first aid kit can treat injuries and prevent infections. Make sure it includes bandages, antiseptic wipes, tweezers, medical tape, and over-the-counter pain relievers. Don't forget any prescription medications that your family might need. Tools like a multi-tool or Swiss Army knife can also be incredibly handy. They can help you with everything from opening canned food to making minor repairs around your home. Now let's talk about your home. It's your sanctuary and your fortress during a natural disaster. Making home modifications for disaster resilience can be a game changer. If you live in an earthquake-prone area, consider earthquake-proofing your home. This can include securing heavy furniture to the walls and installing safety latches on cabinets. For those in flood-prone areas, consider investing in flood defenses like sandbags or flood barriers. Lastly, but certainly not least, comes the family emergency plan. This is your roadmap to safety when disaster strikes. It should include evacuation routes, communication plans, and designated safe areas in your home. Remember, every member of your family should be familiar with this plan, so make sure to practice it regularly. In the face of a disaster, your preparation can be the difference between chaos and calm. It's about ensuring you have the necessary supplies to sustain you, fortifying your home against the forces of nature, and crafting a plan that guides your family to safety. Remember, the goal of preparation is not to eliminate the risk, but to equip yourself with the tools to manage it effectively. This way, when a disaster strikes, you're not caught off guard. Instead, you're ready to face the challenge head-on, armed with your supplies, your fortified home, and your well-rehearsed plan. Preparation is not just about supplies, it's about a comprehensive plan. It's about understanding the threat, having the resources to weather it, and knowing exactly what to do when disaster knocks at your door. So stay prepared, stay resilient, and most importantly, stay safe. When disaster strikes, knowing how to respond is crucial. It's a moment where every second counts and your actions can directly influence your survival. It's not the time for panic, it's the time for action. In our world of technology, staying informed is more accessible than ever. Emergency alerts and broadcasts are vital tools that provide real-time updates about the ongoing disaster. They can guide you on when it's safe to stay put or when it's necessary to evacuate. Tune in to your local news station, radio, or trusted online sources for these crucial updates. Remember, knowledge is power, and in this case it can be the power that keeps you safe. Different disasters require different immediate actions for safety. Let's go over a few examples. During an earthquake, the rule of thumb is drop, cover, and hold on. Drop to your hands and knees, cover your head and neck, and if possible, take shelter under a sturdy piece of furniture. Hold on until the shaking stops. In the event of a flood, head for higher ground immediately, and never attempt to walk or drive through floodwaters. It takes just 6 inches of moving water to knock you off your feet, and 2 feet to sweep your vehicle away. For tornadoes, the safest place is a small, windowless interior room on the lowest level of your home. If you're caught outside with no shelter, lie flat in a nearby ditch or depression and cover your head with your hands. And in a hurricane, evacuate if instructed to do so. Otherwise, stay indoors, away from windows and glass doors, and be prepared for power outages. Staying calm during these scenarios is easier said than done, but it's crucial. Panic can cloud your judgment and lead to mistakes. Deep, controlled breaths can help manage your stress levels and allow you to think more clearly. But remember, all these immediate actions won't be of much help if you don't stick to your plan. That plan we talked about in the previous episode? Yes, that's your lifeline. Your pre-disaster preparation should include a detailed plan of action for different disaster scenarios. If you have a family, make sure every member knows the plan by heart. Practice drills can be a great way to ensure everyone knows what to do when disaster strikes. Your actions during the disaster can significantly impact your survival. It's a moment of test, a moment where your preparation meets the challenge. But with the right knowledge, the right plan, and the right mindset, you can navigate this test and come out the other side, ready to face whatever comes next. Once the immediate danger has passed, the survival challenge continues. The post-disaster environment can be fraught with hazards, making it crucial to assess your surroundings with care. Your home, your sanctuary, may now be a danger zone. Look for structural damage, gas leaks, or electrical hazards. If in doubt, do not enter until professionals have deemed it safe. Your neighborhood, too, may have transformed. Roads could be blocked, power lines down, and water sources contaminated. Familiarize yourself with potential hazards and keep a keen eye out as you navigate your surroundings. Remember, safety always comes first. Now let's talk about navigating the aftermath. The cleanup process can be a mammoth task. Equip yourself with the right tools. Sturdy gloves, protective eyewear, and sturdy boots can protect you from injuries. Be mindful of health hazards. The aftermath of a disaster can breed disease. Ensure you have a first aid kit stocked with essentials and do not neglect the importance of clean water and sanitation. In the face of devastation, you may need to seek assistance. There's no shame in reaching out. Connect with local community groups, relief agencies, or government bodies. These organizations can provide invaluable resources and support. Finally, we need to address the elephant in the room, the psychological impact of surviving a disaster. It's natural to experience a range of emotions, from relief and gratitude to fear, guilt, or grief. It's important to acknowledge these feelings, give yourself permission to feel, and seek help if needed. Connect with others, share your experiences, and don't hesitate to reach out to mental health professionals. Coping with disaster is as much a mental game as it is a physical one. Just as you'd train your body to handle the physical rigors of survival, you must also prepare your mind. Remember, resilience is the cornerstone of survival. Surviving the aftermath is just as important as surviving the disaster itself. So stay alert, stay strong, and remember, you're not alone in this journey. Survival is not a solitary endeavor. Your community can be your greatest asset. When the storm clouds roll in or the ground starts to shake, we all feel the same fear. But it's in these moments that the strength of our community shines the brightest. In the wake of a disaster, response and recovery efforts are often led by those who are part of the community. Neighbors help neighbors, friends help friends, strangers become friends. It's a beautiful, albeit challenging, display of human resilience and kindness. But why wait for disaster to strike to start building these bonds? Establishing and maintaining relationships with your neighbors and local community members can be beneficial both before and after a disaster. This is where the concept of mutual aid comes into play. Mutual aid is a voluntary reciprocal exchange of resources and services for mutual benefit. In simpler terms, it's about helping each other out. You might have a generator, and your neighbor might have a stockpile of canned goods. In a disaster scenario, you could exchange electricity for food, ensuring both parties' survival needs are met. But mutual aid is not just about swapping goods and services. It's about fostering a sense of community solidarity and support. It's about creating networks of people who are prepared to help each other in times of need. Consider organizing or participating in a local mutual aid network. These networks can range from informal agreements among neighbors to more structured organizations with designated roles and responsibilities. When you contribute to a mutual aid network, you're not just helping others, you're helping yourself. The resources and support you provide today could be the very lifeline you need tomorrow. And let's not forget about the psychological benefits. In times of crisis, feelings of isolation and helplessness can be overwhelming, but knowing that you're part of a community, that you're not alone, can provide a much-needed boost to your mental and emotional resilience. So, reach out to your neighbors, attend community meetings, volunteer at local events. Not only will you be strengthening your community, but you'll also be building a network of potential allies for when disaster strikes. Remember, your survival skills and preparations can go a long way in a disaster scenario, but they can't replace the value of a strong, supportive community. In the aftermath of a disaster, it's often the people around us, the ones who lend a helping hand, share a warm meal, or offer a comforting word, who make the biggest difference. In times of disaster, your community can be your lifeline. So don't wait for the storm to start building your ark. Start forging those bonds today, and you'll be better prepared for whatever tomorrow brings. Surviving natural disasters starts with preparation and the right mindset. We've walked through the process today, from understanding the wide range of natural disasters and their potential impacts, to customizing your survival plan based on the specific threats in your area. Preparation, as we've emphasized, is absolutely key. This includes stocking up on essential supplies, making necessary home modifications, and creating a family emergency plan. When the disaster does strike, staying informed through emergency alerts and broadcasts can be life-saving. We've discussed the immediate actions to take for safety during various types of disasters. And remember, staying calm and sticking to your plan is crucial. After the disaster, assessing your home and neighborhood for safety is a priority. We've also touched on navigating the aftermath, including cleanup, health hazards, and seeking assistance. And let's not forget the psychological coping strategies for post-disaster trauma. Community and networking, as we've explored, play a significant role in disaster response and recovery. Mutual aid can be a powerful tool, and it's something we encourage everyone to contribute to and benefit from. We've covered a lot today, but remember, this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to survival strategies. We urge you to subscribe for more survival strategies and encourage you to share your experiences or questions in the comments. For a more comprehensive guide, check out the Ultimate Grid Down Survival Handbook, available on Amazon. It's packed with in-depth survival techniques, including dealing with natural disasters, which can truly make the difference between life and death in a crisis. Remember, the more you know, the more prepared you'll be. So keep learning, keep preparing, and always stay vigilant. Don't forget to pick up your copy of the Ultimate Grid Down Survival Handbook on Amazon today. Also, if you aren't already, please subscribe and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Stay prepared, stay safe, and remember, knowledge is survival.